Hi, Supply Chain Universe. I hope you're doing well. I'm excited to have the pleasure of speaking on the topic of building your brand today. There are many elements that we can consider in building your brand. I'm going to cover about 2 handfuls of those elements with you today. So let's get started. So we've all heard, the individual that says, "Oh my gosh, Becky, did you see her outfit today? It was so inappropriate and unprofessional." Or another where somebody says, "Did you hear how many ums he said during his presentation? I counted 25." Reality is that perception is reality. We've all grown up differently from each other. And our perspectives and our perceptions act as filters. So unfortunately, we all have a judge, and we're all judging others based on our own lives and our own experiences in our lives. And the only way to get through that and to knock down those barriers is to teach people about those perceptions and perspectives, or to build relationships so people really understand who you are as an individual and what is important to you. And, at the end of the day, whether or not it makes sense to have a relationship with individuals. When you think about your brand is present in many different places. You have a community presence. You have an organizational presence. You have an online presence. You have a family presence, right? So in each of those areas, right, you are literally throughout your life building your brand as an individual. Now, authenticity is key here because you want to be able to understand and be yourself, regardless of where your presence is, right? Online, community, etc. And that authenticity can only be built if you have a full understanding of who you are as an individual. So there are some foundational elements here that I'd like to cover with you. One of them being your values, right? Understanding your values, being able to live through your values, and being able to communicate your values is important in building your brand. There are some simple exercises that you can go through in order to understand what your values are, if you don't already. But this gives you the platform to be able to align your values with your life and your purpose. And when people understand what those are, right, they can better connect with you and understand who you are as an individual. And the same thing with your strengths, right? So when you understand your strengths and you communicate your strengths and you live your strengths out every single day, then you are building your brand. People can say, "Oh, I know Chris, he's known for, being really passionate about strategy." And he's the person you want at the table when you've got to talk about strategy. Or, "Oh, Megan, she's really great at communication. I would ask her if that email communication seems to be appropriate for that audience, because she could probably give you some really great tips and tricks," right? So I would ask you, what do people say are your values and your strengths? And if they're guessing or making their own assumptions, perhaps take the actions in order to figure out what those are, and then be able to communicate those. Again, communication is another one here. We talked a little bit about that just now, but communication is part of your brand. You want to be able to be nimble in the right situations. And when you are doing certain things, perhaps that are not in line with what the needs are, say like the organization or even the community or even family, then people are making assumptions and people are giving you a brand without you taking the action and charge to build it on your own, right? So people are actually defining your brand for you when you're not taking all these different things into consideration. So there is a level of emotional intelligence that you must consider when building your brand. when we look at authenticity, authenticity has many elements in itself, right, that are important in building authentic or authentic selves, authentic leaders, etc. And part of authenticity is the ability for people to be able to rely and trust on you and trust you. So that is an important piece of this puzzle, is ensuring that you are doing what you say you're going to do, and that people feel they can rely on you and trust you. Another element is living on purpose. Okay, so making sure that your brand, your messaging, your values, your strengths, everything that you're doing is in line with the purpose, your purpose here on this earth. When you're not living and leading with your purpose as foundation, it actually becomes very difficult. It's almost like, like oil and water. Things just don't jive. Things just don't seem to come together as they should. Perhaps this is an opportunity for you to relook at what you're doing and to understand a little bit more about what your purpose is. The last thing is performance. When you do what you say you're going to do, right, then it's easy to perform well. When you are meeting your goals, when you are being intentional and acting towards your goals, then you have a higher chance of performing well, and others see that happening, right? So it is very true that people are going to tie your performance to your brand. So a lot of different elements here in terms of building your brand. I hope these were helpful for you. Again, there are many, many more that are important to consider when you're intentional about building your brand as an individual. But today's was just a couple handfuls, and I'm hoping that you can walk away with some good tidbits to implement in your life or to further consider if it's been a little bit since you have. So thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to have this discussion with you today. I look forward to next time.